Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome into the first day of DMV Rivals Summer 2024. My name is GB Shiv. I'm joined by Aiden Faze of Canada. Sir, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. So excited for another DMV Rivals to get underway. A tournament a lot of people have been waiting for. Super, super exciting, and really looking forward to today's matches.
Yeah, our first match we're going to try to bring you today in the round robin is going to be between the People's Dominion of Finland and Habibi's Kittens, two of the better teams we got over in that group. Any thoughts before we get into that match?
Well, just to let everyone know who the teams are. On Habibi's Kittens, we got Genesis, we got Flat Shark, we got Zero Domain, we got Habibi Poppy, and we got Rough Tough Afro Puff. And on the other side, in the People's Dominion of Finland, it's Jaxeli, Cloudy, Aquazaba, Rex, and Ragnaros. So any of these matchups you're looking forward to today, Shiv?
I've personally got my eye on the bottom lane. You know, when you name your team after a certain player, that player is going to have to perform, try to be a driving force. So on Habibi's Kittens, we're going to see if Habibi Poppy can really step up his game to start us off.
Yeah, I mean, Habibi Poppy, one of the most tenured players in DMV Rivals, multiple finals, multiple championships to his name, seems to always find a way to make it deep into the tournament, always able to silence the doubters, and yeah, I think the bot lane matchup, especially against a newcomer in Rex, should be quite exciting in this tournament. Actually, it looks like the draft is already starting up here, as the bans have come through, and we have our first picks coming out. Corki and Nautilus. What do you make of these so far?
Yeah, I mean, Corki, he's a champ that has gotten pretty busted after they removed his package, put him more in the bot lane. There's a lot of good on hit stuff where your autos just crit for so much. You can still play poke with lethality if you want. So overall, pretty versatile champ. But Habibi's Kittens, we were talking about Habibi earlier. He's going to be taking the Jhin alongside the Nautilus. Relatively strong bot lane to start us off.
Yeah, I think Habibi's definitely going to be feeling pretty comfortable in this one so far, as the picks coming right back. Rel coming out and Talia. So definitely some flexible champions at least being picked up here, I think. Talia being both a mid laner and a jungle, and Rel being played jungle and support will give them a lot of options. Actually, Corki even, I don't know how strong it is now, but I think still can be played in the mid lane, so definitely keeping their options open is the People's Dominion of Finland.
Yeah, I mean, those AP junglers got super strong with those mid-season changes. Faded Ashes, all the burn damage. You just go through camp so fast. The Talias, the Karthus, the Lilias. So she's definitely a champ that knows her way around the jungle. But a BB Kitten's going to respond with the Jarvan in the jungle themselves. Not a champ, I would imagine, likes the Talia matchup too much, but does give them a lot of engage potential alongside that Nautilus.
Yeah, I mean, a really straightforward draft coming out here from red side so far, and sometimes that's just what you need to win the game. Like the engage, very, very obvious. Obviously, Talia, an immobile champion, you can easily catch out with the Jarvan ult in the right position. So really liking this red side draft so far, and the blue side for the flexibility. It's kind of, we're seeing two drafting styles come out here, and it'll be interesting to see which one ends up coming out on top.
Yeah, that does mean it is time to pinch down on those solo lanes. We see a BB Kittens not wanting to face off against some tanks in the top lane. No Gragas, no Poppy head in the way of Finland.
Yeah, and we already did see Habibi Kittens take away some champs that I think PDF has really shown they like playing so far. The Draven, Rex being a Draven one trick. I think now he's branched out into more champions, but I think he did start off his career as a Draven one trick. Jaxeli definitely very comfortable on this pike. So we've seen a lot of bans come out specifically targeted at some of the players on the respective teams. As now we see a lot of top laners come through with bans. Both teams having yet to pick a top laner. It should be interesting, as I think top lane may be one of the more lopsided matchups in this particular match, with Flat Shark being one of the earlier picks in the tournament, one of the top laners coming in, and Ragnaros kind of going at the tail end of the tournament, not even a top laner as his main role, but will pick up that Skarner, a champion that's incredibly powerful on this current patch. So hopefully he'll be able to use that to neutralize the lane against an experienced top laner like Flat Shark.
Yeah, I mean, Skarner's a champ that's pretty hard to get through when he's on the front line. He can move you all over the place, keep slowing you down, make it hard for you to get onto his carries. But Habibi Kittens, they're saying, we're just going to go right by him. We got Jarvan, we got Orianna for a bit of wombo combo. Jin can help out from a mile away. So we're going to see if Habibi Kittens can really target down those carries. And is that a Kai'Sa top?
I mean, it has to be, right? Like, definitely an interesting pick there. It looks like Flat Shark will be trying to punish this Skarner top by playing a carry champion. And can't say I've seen this one played before, but it'll definitely be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, okay, Kai'Sa can dive on in with the engage. It's like, oh wait, they already have the Jin. So it's going to be interesting to see Habibi Kittens now with the 2 marksmen here. I don't know how kind the mid-season patch has been to Kai'Sa. It has been a lot of Caitlyn, a lot of Jin, and Corki. But, I mean, if she's in the top lane, she's able to get those levels, get those items and evolutions. I can see it working out.
Yeah, and this Viego pick, I'm really liking too. There's a lot of really good champions to take away from the enemy team with the Viego. Additionally, Jarvan kind of classically countered by this Viego pick, so we'll have to see how who's the jungler Cloudy is able to do on this champion. Is definitely one of his more comfortable champions, and one he's shown he can perform on in the past.
Yeah, it looks like the players have gotten to their needed sides here, so we should be good to get into game soon.
Yeah, I mean, we will have a few minutes as there is a bit of a spectator delay, but we'll bring it to you as soon as we can. Just looking at maybe a little more holistically at these comps, who are you giving the edge to on this one, Shiv?
I personally just think, I'm not really worrying too much about team synergy. I see Skarner, I see Talia, I see Corki. I'm like, oh, those are some of the best champions in their roles. Absolutely busted. So I'd give a bit of an edge to Finland. It's just going to see how... I mean, there's a lot of dive potential on a BB Kittens, but I don't know. I just feel like the lanes from Finland, the ability to move around with the Talia, make plays on the map is going to be super valuable to blue side.
Yeah, definitely opting for some of those more powerful picks right now is... it feels like Habibi Kitten's comp maybe even a little bit outdated. Like, a lot of these champions that were kind of good, maybe even in the recent MSI meta, but with all the mid-season changes coming through, we've definitely seen some of these champions kind of fall a little bit to the wayside, so it should be interesting to see if they can use maybe some of these more comfort picks to still win the game. And definitely, in terms of lanes, we're gonna have to look to. I think this Kai'Sa versus Skarner matchup is definitely going to be interesting. We're gonna have to see if Flat Shark is able to build advantages using this, maybe greedy Kai'Sa pick, or if he's going to get caught out by some of these tankier members of the People's Dominion of Finland and just go down and not really be able to have too much of an impact on the game.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'll say is, do we have to entertain the idea that it is Jin top?
I mean, I guess in theory it could be, but I feel like Kai'Sa definitely feels like the more comfortable champion to play top lane. Jin can really struggle into some of these tankier champions, and I feel like the Kai'Sa versus Skarner lane seems much more playable. Certainly, Skarner easily kind of able to pick off this Jin. Kai'Sa with a little bit more options to get out of that Skarner role in the case of a gank. So I would expect the Kai'Sa top, but I guess there's a possibility it's Jin. I don't know. It could be Orianna top at that point. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely just trying to punish the Skarner. He's a champ that I've enjoyed the rework of. He's a bit busted, but I will say the one part of his kit that leaves a bit to be desired is that new ult. Now that you have a bit of channel time on it, the team, I mean, it's going to be pretty easy for Kai'Sa to either E out of it and try to react, or for Nautilus to just root you, and for it to mean that you're not really taking anyone anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely going to have to see how, because I think that Ragnar Ross is not someone who really has too much experience playing these top lane matchups, and we'll see if he's able to make full use of his ultimate, or he's just going to end up hitting this Nautilus and looking silly, like you say. I do also want to point out that this Jarvan Orianna is a very classic engage combo. They are against an immobile champion in the Talia in the mid lane, so definitely some opportunities to maybe pick her off there, and we'll see if this combination of, I think it's who's on that team? It's who's their mid laner? Oh, Zero Domain. Is that what his name is on? Yeah, so Zero Domain, and I think it's who's Genesis in the jungle. We'll see if they're able to pull something out there.
Yeah, we are gonna get hit with that 3-minute spectator delay, so we do still have some time here. Orianna has been the queen of the mid lane for pretty good while, always seemingly finding a way to relevance. Just so much value in champion that can buff up the carries with shields and speeds and then have the game-changing shockwaves. Corki might be a bit mobile to get out of it, but no one else really is, so we'll see how that Cataclysm shockwave wombo pans out.
I mean, you say no one's really mobile to get out of it, but they did give Skarner the ability to just dash right through that wall now, and Viego able to ult out, Rel can jump out, so they definitely do have some options to get out of it. I think Talia will definitely be the primary target of such an engage, but if the shockwave comes out fast enough, no one's going to be able to run. So definitely going to be looking towards that engage. I think both teams kind of playing these very straightforward engage comps where you're just trying to get in there with your front line, follow up with the damage from some of these carries, and we'll see who's able to make the better of it in this game.
Yeah. Like you said, it does feel like Finland piloting the more modern composition. The rework Skarner up there, the Corkster back with no packages to deliver, but still tons of damage all the same. Probably going to see the more on-hit build, given that he's got to deal with the tanks of the Jarvan and the Nautilus. He does have some range advantages later on in the game, if he's ever squaring up against, Kai'Sa or Ori, but yeah, we'll see which route Rexes wants to go with his build. I am going to go grab water in the last minute we have.
Alright, well, I guess it's just me here now, but yeah, I mean, should be a pretty exciting game. We talked about how some of these bot lane, mid lane matchups could be pretty close. A lot of our better players in these lanes, and it'll be exciting to see who can come out on top of those. Whereas I think a lot of the attention in this game will be on the jungle and on the top lane, because I feel like that's kind of where our mismatches are here, with Flatshark being the clear favorite in the top lane and Cloudy being the clear favorite in the jungle. And so we'll see if either of those players are kind of able to take advantage of their maybe weaker opponent and carry that into a win in this game, as it looks like we should finally be ready, just about to get into the match here. Hopefully, Shiv, are you back yet? Oh, okay, well. Looks like we are starting to load in. Hopefully, not too much longer here. We do see the barrier coming out from Corki, looking, as we've seen with this Corki rework, definitely wants to be taking advantage of his lanes, and has become a lot more of a lane bully, and so taking advantage of a summoner spell that's very clearly made for trading in the early game might be exactly what they need to come out on top on this lane.
Yeah, looks like we are good to go on the Rift for our first game of DMV Rivals Summer 2024. Who is going to get to strike first in Group A? We got a BB Kittens versus the People's Dominion of Finland.
Yes, we do. Should be a very exciting match. I think two comps that I wouldn't say really one has the clear advantage early on. We do see a stack coming out in the bot side of the map. Looks like a more standard 5-point for the Habibi's Kittens, but yeah, and I think just to point out maybe one more thing of interest, typically we do see Grasp of the Undying as the rune of choice for the Skarner, but in this ranged matchup where he's not going to get the chance to proc it that much, he has opted for the Arcane Comet, maybe looking to get a little bit of poke out against this ranged champion so he doesn't fall too far behind in the lane.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like Finland transitioning from that brush stack over back to getting this ward on the Raptors. Both teams going to have some jungle information to start us out. Make sure there's no real surprises when it comes to where these junglers are finishing up their clears.
It looks like getting a little bit aggressive in the bot lane is Finland. Jack's going to jump in.
Yeah, Aftershock is there. Genesis going to find the hook. Good damage onto Rexus. They're trying to just run it down on a BB Poppy with that Gatling gun, but looks like Rex is taking the worst of it for now.
Yeah, a really nice trade back. It looked good initially for Finland, but able to get the trade right back was Habibi Poppy. A nice hook coming out from Genesis, and they'll definitely get the better of that trade early on in the lane.
Yeah, no real summoners, so nothing too much to speak of there on the bot side. Actually, no, there was the Ignite from Genesis, so slight disadvantage there as this Corki will just try to move up. Jaxley hitting level 2, but Habibi and Genesis should be fine down there. Rough Tough doing a interesting path where he did 2 camps topside, now coming back bot to do 2 camps. We'll see if he rubber bands back to finish on his Krugs or what the plan here is, while Goat of All Time just making sure that he's rushing up full clearing from top to bot.
Yeah, and it looks like Rough Tough now heading into this river may start to look for a play into this Dragon Pit. Probably going to jump over here as...
Yeah, he flag and dragged over.
Looks like... But Goat of All Time is in the area. We'll see if he's able to respond to this play.
Oh, yep. Flash Hook is there. They're going to try to lock up the Corki, but he's got Barrier. Now Flag and Drag going to find its way onto one. Jaxley trying to flash away, but they want Rexus. They want the Corki. They just can't. Maybe he's got a 4th shot in the chamber. He can't get it through. It's first blood to Jaxley. Now a reset for Goat of All Time. Rough Puff's going to be taken down. And now it's time for the Jhin to strike down his lane mate as Genesis is trying to get away. Is there a W coming up? Rexus is there with a Gatling gun. And Goat of All Time turns around the bot play. Huge advantage for Finland.
Yeah, it's a disaster for Habibi's Kittens, as I think Rough Tough Afropuff getting a little bit too aggressive with the flag and drag there. Probably should have saved it for the flash, and that caused him and Habibi to get a little bit too deep, greeting for that kill.
Oh, now Zerjamay trying to flash in. He does get the solo kill, but with Jaxley there to cover, it is a solo kill for the Rel, not best of situations, but Goat of All Time will pick up that wave.
Yeah, but nicely played by Zero Domain to get the early advantage in this lane. Has built himself up a 10 CS lead, was able to get the solo kill on his laner who didn't even get an assist in return. So Zero Domain certainly very happy with how this lane is going so far.
Yeah. But, I mean, I really do want to just go back to the path thing Rough Tough did. He really wanted to get down to that bot lane and try to swing it early, but now he's going to find himself down quite a bit. There are 2 camps still on the map that he has not taken that are still in round 1, while Goat of All Time, he was able to full clear. I believe he only missed his Krugs on that full clear, so he's feeling pretty good about just getting back, pathing to bot, and I can kind of understand it from Rough Puff, if that early level 1 popped any sums off Rexus and Jaxley, but they still had the flashes, still had the barrier. Makes the play a bit more tricky to pull off and a bit more risky, as decent damage from Aquazaba here in the mid lane.
Yeah, but like you said, with those summoner spells down, that does give maybe Rough Tough Afropuff the chance to go back to this bot lane, maybe take advantage of those missing summoner spells, and try to look to push the bot lane back in his favor. As Zero Domain going for the ult.
Yeah, he's got Shockwave, and oh, no dissonance, so no solo kill. A second time for Zero. Flash in from Goat of All Time. Orianna now with no way out. And Aquazaba, I mean, we'll give it to you for being the bait.
Yeah, I mean, Zero Domain looking to push his advantage further in that lane, but wasn't aware of Goat of All Time's positioning. Wasn't able to get the damage quite through. Aquazaba able to limp away. And Goat of All Time now 3-0, only 5 minutes into the game. And he's definitely going to be the player to watch so far. Yeah. As I do want to take a look at this top lane. We do see twice the CS for this ranged top laner in Flat Shark. Ragnaros was forced to take it back as the lane is frozen on him. And while Flat Shark definitely not as far ahead as Good of All Time. He definitely is quite strong, and we'll see if he's able to take advantage of his lane and push for something in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the Kaisa top was the super talking point of the draft, but everything happening around bot for now. Ragnaros not even going to bother TPing back here. He's got to find a way to get through that. Oh, no, the freeze. Not really quite there in the top lane. That should get pushed back into him. As play in the bot side, Genesis able to dredge line out. Go to all time. Just going to meander back into the mist.
Yeah, and fortunately, maybe for the laners of Habibi Kittens, none of their lane opponents are really getting ahead off of these Good of All Time ganks. Good of All Time definitely very strong himself, but Habibi, Zero Domain still looking very good in their lanes. So it looks like it will be now Aquazaba maybe looking for something in the bot lane as he's trying to rotate down. Does have the Weaver's Wall available.
Yeah, we do see the Grubs started up by Afropuff. Even with Skarner trying to come down here, I don't think he's going to be able to disturb him too much. There is no smite. So actually Ragnaros going to move in. He tries to E forward. He's going to get the Impale as Go to all time. Just going to sweep in, smite it away. So bit of investment there from Rough Puff. He'll get 2 Grubs, but not all 3.
Yeah, but at least did get the ult out of Ragnaros, which will definitely open up Flat Shark to push for more advantages in this lane. Good of All Time obviously picking up the third Void Grub there, but not really able to get a kill or anything. So I think if you're Rough Tough Afropuff, you're still feeling pretty alright. You definitely, as this Jarvan, want to make something more happen in this early game, but doing alright still are Habibi Kittens.
Yeah. I think, like you said, the fact that the laners on Finland haven't got... Actually, Jaxley can't quite find the pullback. Genesis is going to make sure Rex is pinned down, but he's still going to Valk forward. Oriana's here to provide some defense. Habibi's so low as here comes Aquazaba on the wall, but he guts off at the wrong station. They're still looking for Habibi. Shockwave flashed away from by Rex. Double stuff from Jaxley. Aquazaba trying to get in there with a threaded volley. No kills just yet. Rex still has the barrier, and it's a disaster for Zero Domain. Genesis will try to eat some honey fruit, but no amount of vitamin C is going to get him out of this one. It is still Finland winning out on all these plays.
Rex taking full advantage of his summoner spells, able to flash away from the shockwave from Oriana and barrier later on to keep himself alive. Really able to carry that fight and bring the damage through even after we saw a bit of a misplay from Aquazaba. Not quite able to make it to the fight in time, but Zero Domain with a lot of his damage kind of blown on nothing, still able to pull out the win. But we do see them now turning to the dragon. Looks like they will just be able to take this down. No contest here, and definitely a huge win for Finland here.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the bot side being one of the points to watch. Looks like the junglers have agreed thus far. We're getting a ton of action around there. Finland constantly being the victor, so Flat Shark still building up his CS lead in top side, getting some money with that first strike and the plates as well.
Yeah, looking very, very good for Flat Shark here. And, Zero Domain, who had started out really strong, does still have a CS lead, but has kind of fallen behind in some of these plays. And now Talia has gotten to that level where she can just shove the wave with one combo, and not really able to do much else is Zero Domain so far. Ragnaros, though, really, really struggling out here.
Yeah, we may have some more action in the bot lane. Rough Puff just lying in wait. We'll see if he wants to make something happen. There are no flashes. There's a hook forward. Rex is going forward with the Valk. A massive Magnet Storm, but the Corki's still going to die, except it still means resets for Goat of All Time. Genesis trying to get himself out of here with Dredge Line. Not quite going to get blocked by Jaxley, but it's still a kill all the same. Now another reset is there. Goat of All Time going to hook a minion. We won't worry too much about that one. But Zero Domain has burned the Shockwave, putting on some pressure in mid lane. But again, Rough Puff trying to make a play mid, saying, hey, they don't have flashes. I can lock them into Cataclysm. But it's just not going their way.
Yeah, it looked good initially as Zero Domain was starting to rotate down. They found that quick kill onto Rex, who W'd forward a little bit too aggressively, but Goat of All Time just too strong on this Viego, able to clean up the fight yet again, and definitely starting to fall quite far behind is the bot lane of Habibi Kittens.
Yeah, it certainly feels like Goat of All Time is taking over thus far. Every time Rough Puff wants to make a play, Goat of All Time is there. Anytime Zero Domain or any laners want to make a play, The Viego is there. And you got Skarner still down quite a bit in the top lane. He's going to have to TP back. But he's a tank. He's fine being on this low economy. He's fine just chilling up there in solitary.
Well, maybe more on the bright side for Habibi's Kittens is all the kills are on this Viego, and Viego not really a champion that can do all that much before getting that initial reset. So if they are able to find him in one of these fights, if they are able to lock him down, there definitely are opportunities for Habibi Kittens to find a favorable fight. As a rough tough Afro Puff going for these Void Grubs, looking for that fourth now. Good of all time quite far away, might be able to pick up those that little buff for himself, able to push down turrets a little bit faster here.
Yeah, we will see Ragnaros make his way forward, but with no jungler and with Orianna and Habibi Poppy up here, should be a 4 grub take. All of Habibi Kids making sure that they got that extra tower taking bonus.
Yeah, and crucially, Habibi Poppy and Genesis able to get that push out off the back of the previous play. So they won't lose too much, probably still the turret going down actually, but yeah, definitely a much slower pace from Finland, and that did allow or force them not to be able to rotate and contest the Void Grubs there.
Yeah, I mean, thought there may have been a chance for a TP play to pin them in bot, but no dice, no wards to set that one up, as everyone's just going to start to move forward and clear out this bot vision.
Yeah, and I mean, when it's just the Kai'Sa TPing in, there's not really any lockdown there to secure any kills, but so Flat Shark's definitely just going to be happy kind of continuing to push for this lead in the top lane. Ragnaros holding on, losing quite a lot of plates, but crucially, Tower First Blood does go over to Sweden, Finland, who seems to be jumping in.
Yeah, here comes Rough Puff, finds one knockup to try to clear the way. Aquazaba arriving, teleport from Ragnaros as well. There's the flick back onto Afropuff. Another rock, not going to kill him. Nautilus going to soak up the rest of the earth. And quite a bit invested from Finland, but they're just going to use that to move through the enemy jungle, get some vision.
Yeah, 5 people sent to this bot side for Finland, not able to find a single kill, which will give Flat Shark not only the solo turret XP, but also time to continue to push forward this farm lead. Now up almost 100 farm at only 13 minutes on this Kai'Sa. He's definitely going to be feeling very strong for himself so far in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting that man immune stacked up, hoping to get that evolution. And probably not for the next drag fight, but perhaps for dragon number 3. And then we'll start to see what kind of value this Kai'Sa is going to provide outside the lane.
Also still has that TP advantage now that Ragnaros was forced to TP bot side for that play, and so he's going to be able to continue putting on this pressure. And if Ragnaros, actually he'll blow it right now just to get there faster, maybe looking to make a quicker rotation, but this whole top lane is just going to keep crashing in, and Ragnaros is not going to be able to do too much about it.
Yeah. We do have the dragon on the map. I'm going to go ahead and say that Habibi Kittens are not contesting this one in the slightest. There's an entire collector on the Corki, not an item to the Jin's name, so would be an ill-advised contest, especially with no Kai'Sa. So dragon number 2 heading towards Finland.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to wait for Flat Shark to find his way into some of these plays before Habibi's Kittens are really able to look for anything. They are, it looks like, able to grab the Rift Herald, though, in response to the Dragon. Probably a little bit more even than you might have expected, given how far ahead this bot and mid side are for Finland here.
Yeah, I mean, despite how bad the bot lane went, we saw that the top lane constantly in Flat Shark's favor. We saw Zero Domain, even if he's not quite finishing off kills, even if he's getting ganked, that he has pressure. They were able to convert it into some grubs. And so the top side of the map is going to be where Habibi Kitten's going to have to hedge their bets.
Yeah, it's really starting to look like a one-man team for Habibi's Kittens. Zero Domain, probably still a little bit strong, but really going to have to rely on Flat Shark here if they want to pull out a win here.
Yeah.
Definitely rough tough Afro Puff, though, taking advantage of this top side, able to push for some camps in the enemy jungle while good about time gets some of his in return. So not falling too far behind despite the state of his bot lane. So definitely feeling pretty good about that if you're rough tough Afro Puff. Still the same level as this 5-kill Viego.
Yeah, good mental from Rough Buff, making sure that even when his plays were going awry, not quite finding all that he wanted, make sure to just keep that farm up. Don't fall too far out of the game as Aquazaba forced to flash zero domain, hunting him down with the shockwave.
Yeah, and that's definitely a summoner you got to keep track of if you are Habibi's Kittens.
Here comes the engage as Rough Puff is in there, tries to put the Cataclysm down to Rex. It's Jaxi going down solo, curtain call over the top, but one kill goes to go all the time, and now it's time for resets. He's got a flag and drag looking for zero domain, now trying to flash back to the Blast Cone. As here comes Flat Shark with the Void Seekers. Another Dissonant Slow means it's a double kill to the Kaisa, and poor old Skarner still left alone in top.
Yeah, like we said, when Skarner TP'd bot side for that play earlier where nothing really came of it, it was going to have to watch out for the window for them to force a fight while he was on the other side of the map, and able to take clear advantage of that, as now, in addition to the farm lead, Flat Shark with 2 kills to his name is very, very strong on this Kaisa, and the gold is getting closer and closer to even, despite the early advantages that GOAT of all time was able to build for his team.
Yeah, we do see now that the Viego has gotten to the second item. Technically the first one in the game to reach there. I don't count Unevolved Manamune in that category. So we'll see if the Viego can be that point of power for that dragon in 2 minutes. You think BB Kitten's going to make their way down for this one?
I'd be pretty surprised if they didn't contest, because that would be soul point for GOAT of all time and his team, and if Habibi Kittens are falling that far behind, despite the strength of this Kaisa, all it would take was one good play, one even steal from GOAT of all time, and suddenly this game becomes very hard to win. Infernal Soul, a very, very strong soul, as they will commit this Rift Herald in the mid lane. I assume that was running out, because if not, they probably would have wanted to hold that on for the dragon, so...
Yeah. One other thing I do... Oh, actually, Aquazaba finds a decent chunk onto Genesis. Gets some first strike gold. It's GOAT of time. Finds the stun. Here comes Weaver's Wall to pin 2 of the tanks in. Shockwave going to not find too much as Rough Puff trying to do whatever he can, but he's just going to fall, give over a reset, and now zero domain on the back foot. Rocket's going to fly by. It's just one pick, 1 minute to drag.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately with dragon spawning in that much time, it's not going to be the end of the world or anything for Habibi's Kittens. Genesis, though, poked out quite a bit, so see if he's able to find a reset there in time. But definitely a good play for GOAT of all time, and I will see if they're able to transition from here into the dragon.
I will say one big thing that has come about from those 2 little scuffles is that a lot of flashes missing on the people dominions of Finland, while Rough Tough still got his flash. Habibi Poppy still got his flash. Zero domain, Flash Shark, still everyone has their flash except for Genesis. So when this fight comes around, it's going to get harder to get away from the engage. It's going to be harder to lock these guys down.
Yeah, we're really going to have to look for these carries of Finland. Rex and Aquazaba are going to have to make a lot happen here. As Jaxeli actually the one getting poked out now.
Yeah, it does have some stuns to try to get back. GOAT of all time just going to try to leave him be. And Jaxeli, not the recall I think we wanted out of him. That is going to clear the way for a likely dragon take for Habibi's Kittens.
Yeah, and a much more well-timed pick for Habibi's Kittens. Able to get that right before the dragon, carry that straight forward into the objective take. And that's definitely what you want to see. You know, with that kill for GOAT of all time and Finland earlier on, they were not really able to get anything off of it because the objective was still quite a ways from spawning, and definitely an advantage for Habibi's Kittens, able to stave off that soul a little bit longer, get some more time for Flat Shark to continue to build up his advantage, continue to get these items, and look forward to some of these further fights.
Yeah, right now, neither team has really been able to strike down the mid tower to try to really move into enemy territory, set up some vision. It is just going to be Flat Shark taking down the bot lane tower. Aquazaba going to try to put some pressure on top and clear out these structures.
Yeah, and Baron did just spawn on the map. I'm not sure if anyone's going to be looking to take it immediately, but with this Kaisa super fed in the top lane, despite having a Jhin who's a little bit weaker of an ADC for taking this Baron, Habibi's Kittens have a very, very fast Baron here, and might look for that objective soon if they're able to find a pick or two here.
Right now, topside is littered with a ton of blue wards. So it's going to need some time to get the control as good of all time. Can't find Flat Shark. Still going to smite. He's trying to ult back, but Jaxley's there for him. This time the Rel's in position, and this time they net a kill onto Flat Shark.
Yeah, and a huge kill onto Flat Shark. Basically the only strong member on Habibi's Kittens. With him going down, that might just open up the opportunity for them to take this Baron here.
Yep, that's gonna... It's going to be on the menu here. Good of all time, down below half HP. Ragnaros comes in with the flank. Locks up 2 with the Impale. Aquazab is there with the follow-through, but the Cataclysm. Shockwave onto 4. Rex's is down in zero domain. Trying to be the carry in this fight. Jackson going forward now as another reset for Goat of all time. He dodges away from the curtain calls. And now zero domain going to be hit by the Weaver as well. But Aquazaba goes a bit too far. It's 1-for-1 in that extended play. But overall... I mean, I guess Habibi Kittens got him off Baron.
Yeah, I mean, still probably a favorable play for Finland at the end of the day, but considering how bad it could have gotten, definitely, you'll take those if you are Habibi's Kittens. But wow, what a play from Zero Domain, able to find 4 on that Shockwave after the initial setup from Rough Tough Afropuff with the Cataclysm. And absolutely carrying that fight despite what looked like an initially good engage for Ragnaros with the ult onto 2 backline members. And you're definitely going to be singing Zero Domain's praise that game there after this if you are Habibi Kittens, as definitely keeping them in this one despite the Flat Shark going down early on there.
Yeah. Pretty good stuff from the Orianna, Jarvan, Wombo. Come on, now they want to play in mid. Ragnaros able to flash away, but they find Rex's once again. He's forced to flash away. Jaxley very low in the front line, going to be taken down by the Shockwave, but Impale hits 2, and that could be a turning point. Flat Shark able to get away. Now they lock up Ragnaros with the Deadly Flourish, making sure that Habibi Kittens get the better of the play.
Yeah, what a find from Genesis there. Flashing forward, landing that initial hook, setting up the play for his team, and that time Flat Shark made no mistake. He had an easy follow-up, was able to secure more kills for his team. Oh, it looks like the mid laners might have a little run in here.
Yeah, Zero Domain doesn't have much left. He's able to get away now. Curtain call from Jhin, trying to take out Aquazaba, but Goat of all time is there to cover. A little cheeky recall in there as well. Neither mid laner going to lose their head.
Yeah, it looked like it could have gone Aquazaba's way for a second there, but luckily, Zero Domain able to dodge out on some of those later threaded volleys and not quite going down. Flat Shark continuing, though, to get ahead on this Kai'Sa. Now level 14 and a ton of farm to his name. Yep. 4 items almost coming through here. Is opting for some of these AP items. Did pick up, I think, probably a more... a different Kai'Sa build than we're used to here, but with how far ahead he is this game, it is hard to argue.
Yeah, and now with the minute to that dragon, if Flat Shark can get down here, start chucking out that poke in the Fog of War, can be a lot of damage, but Jaxie's going to try to go for him, able to find the Shattering Strike, forcing the Killer Instinct out with the Magnet Storm. As here comes the engage, Rough Puff, their 2-man Cataclysm. Goat of all time able to slink away with the Heartbreaker, but it is still looking pretty good for the Kittens. As Genesis down so low, Rex's can't really do much. A double to Habibi, and that should clear the way for Dragon Baron, whatever they really want.
Yeah, it looked, maybe Jack Sully going a bit too aggressive there. He did find the engage, did force the ult out of that Kai'Sa, but without any follow-up really nearby, Kai'Sa was able to just slink away, and the follow-up came through first from Habibi's Kittens, able to finish off the other members in that fight, and Goat of all time still not really able to find that much with the lead he built up for himself. They will opt to go for that dragon in return for the Baron, so a good call to get something back here, but you're definitely feeling really good now if you are Habibi's Kittens.
Yeah, and I mean, you look on the side of Finland, Rex's got a lot of attention in the early game, was able to come out on top in a lot of those situations, had the item lead for most of the game, but he's just not really finding much in these fights. He's not getting the damage down before he's caught out. He's not getting someone low for Goat of all time to start the reset after reset chain. And so I'm really looking to see when this Corki is going to start to contribute, because right now Habibi Poppy, he takes out that sniper, takes out the ulti, and he can contribute from so far away so easily. Whereas this Corki just seemingly has to fight for his life against the Jarvan, against the Orianna, and against the Nautilus.
I think what we really need to see here is Finland fight more together with their backline and frontline. It feels like their backline or their frontline is just diving so far in to the point where Rex and Aquazaba just don't have the opportunities to find really any footing in these fights. And Aquazaba, a bit of a cheeky position. Talia players really liking that angle, but luckily for Flat Shark, able to juke away, and Jaxeli here on a ward, so no engage able to be found as they'll continue to push forward with the Baron buff. Notably, though, they are grouping all 5 in one lane, not opting to really put on any silent pressure. Oh, a huge
good chunk is now Rough Puff trying to use the combo, but Shockwave whiffs! And now here comes Ragnaros speeding down the mid lane. Gonna just take what he can get on the Nautilus. Jaxley down a bit low, but with the Locket, they're pretty tanky. The wall off here from Aquazaba means they gotta run up, but they can't run away from the GOAT as Flat Shark trying to dive into the back line. But the GOAT and the rest of Finland will hunt him down. An ace for the People's Dominion of Finland.
Wow, what a play from Aquazaba, able to find the seismic shove onto 2 crucial members of Habibi's Kittens. And when it looked like they were starting to fall back, starting to get lost in this game, and starting to get behind, they were able to find just the engage they needed to continue pushing forward. Jaxeli, though, not really respecting the turret there, will just go down. It shouldn't mean too much, but
yeah,
not what you're looking for at this point in the game.
Taking all those Barons off the map, getting yourself a 3.5k gold lead, and trying to get some control over here before that Infernal Soul is on the map. I do want to call out that time, the Wombo combo was not that great. Rough Puff was trying to get a Cataclysm off with his dying breath. The Shockwave only really, I think, would have hit one person if they didn't flash. I believe it was Goat. So not a lot of patience on the Shockwave that time. Did he just try to get everything off, and it did not really work out.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to really make any Wombo combo happen when you are not the initial engage there. And because they were able to find out some of these more crucial members, there just wasn't really an opportunity for any of them to get set up in the fight. Flat Shark
trying to dive in with the Killer Instinct. Rex is very low, but his team's got his back. So even with the Corki forced to flash, that is Kaisa now off the map. And Goat of All Time starting to shoot out some Void Seekers. I don't know if Genesis really appreciates those. And now Weaver's wall in as the flick finds it onto the Nautilus, but a nice buffer gets the Fisherman out to safety. Aquazaba continuing to just pad some DPM here as Habibi's Kitten's forced to retreat.
Yeah, it looked like Flat Shark was going to get that kill initially, but getting a little bit greedy there. It was the Hex Drinker just picked up for Rex, able to survive that one, and very, very crucial as team was able to come in, able to get the return kill onto Flat Shark, who, despite looking very, very good in the early stages of the game, hasn't really been able to find anything.
Yeah, I mean, the AP Kaisa does have assassination power when you can pop that passive and try to layer the Ws, but feels like for now they need to play more patient with letting the poke go through. We'll see if they're even able to get in a position to do that with 1 minute to the Infernal Dragon. There is a good amount of red wards in the area that they can maybe play around, but I think it is going to be Habibi Kittens on the back foot in this next fight.
And we're really, really seeing the advantage of getting to engage in these comps, because when it's that Nautilus jumping in, when it's the Jarvan jumping in with the follow-up from Zero Domain, from Habibi Poppy, they're able to very decisively win these fights and very quickly. But when it's the Rel jumping in or the Skarner, all of a sudden Rex and Aquazaba are the ones able to find the damage. And so really, really, really going to have to look towards these front lines to see who can pull ahead in these later fights.
For now, it is going to be the Kittens getting control of the pick, getting the wards down, and all 10 members here in the mid lane. So it's not like Finland wants to give this one up. Jaxley looking for the engage, not really finding too much, but a stun on Afro Puff. He's able to absorb the poke pretty well, but that does open a slot for Finland to get through to the Dragon.
Yeah, nothing really that important was blown there.
Oh, we do have a hook onto Ragnaros. He's going to go low. He's going to just try to hold the front line in place for a massive shove. Shockwave is only onto one. Rough Puff is dead, and it's time to let the resets go. Jaxley is going to just buy time on the front side. He does get sniped by a massive Void Seeker, so it's a double to Flat Shark as the 3 members of Habibi Kittens don't want to let the soul go, but it's going to happen. It's going to be Infernal Soul for Finland.
Yeah, and as we saw with Genesis and Rough Tough Afropuff just going down there at the start of the fight, while the poke did come through eventually, while the damage started to come out from Flat Shark, they just weren't able to find their way into that bot side river, and a free soul for Finland is now BB Kittens are going to have a really, really rough time finding their way back into this one, down now 5k gold and a soul. And with Baron on the map, Baron available, we'll see if they're able to find a decisive play in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't quite sure about how Finland was going to play that one out. It didn't feel like they had control. It felt like, you can just maybe let this one go, try to pick up stuff elsewhere on the map. But they were confident in the fight. They took it, and now they are confidently in the driver's seat now, setting up around Baron.
And Aquazaba having crucial shove combos coming out in each of these fights, really, really taking advantage of the CC on his team, and able to deal way more damage than these carries on the enemy team. So
and actually finds another one onto Flat Shark. He's able to get away from that, but here comes the Scorpion. Flat Shark able to get away, as now Rough Puff, he's already used the Flag and Drag. He flashes the Impale. He's going to be able to get away. Flash from Rough Puff for not much expended on the side of Finland.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse, though, for Habibi's Kittens. It looks like multiple members could have gone down, but Genesis and Rough Tough able to find those angles to flash out.
Yeah,
and
they're TPing Flat Shark back in. They are a bit worried about this Baron take getting back that mid control now, as we're just A-ramming, it's fine.
Yeah, Aquazaba continuing to look for these angles, able to land a shove on Rough Tough as
Ragnaros comes in. He's going to get blown up by Flat Shark, but Rexus is in the Cataclysm. He's in the Crash Dome, as here comes Jaxley, though. Massive Magnet Storm, and now the rocks will pelt down upon Habibi's Kittens. Genesis trying to get away. You cannot buffer that shove, as Aquazaba trying to get the last few rocks, and he's going to do it. It's 3 for 3 at the end of the day. Zero Domain does have teleport to get back on the map.
Ooh, it looked so good for Habibi's Kittens in the early parts of that fight. Able to find the initial engage. Rough Tough able to survive just long enough for the damage to come through. But it was ultimately Jaxelli and Aquazaba coming out on top, able to combo their abilities together and find the win in that fight. I didn't know that was a thing you could do, autoing the melee auto from over the wall.
Lances have a good reach. You underestimate them. But, fairly long, fairly pointy. Get the job done. As it is now. We haven't really seen the gold lead move too much in the favor of Finland throughout the course of these fights. Still sitting at around 3k. It is going to be that Infernal Soul. That's the main difference. Corkster almost up to full build. He does lock in a Maw of Malmortius, making sure that these Void Seekers don't hurt as much, and that the Shockwave combo doesn't quite just completely 100-0 him.
Yeah, and crucially, Aquazaba, now with that Zanya's available, might be able to make the difference in these fights if he's able to avoid the initial engage and bring the damage back after going through that cooldown. With initial river priority is Finland, but
yeah, I mean, I will say with all the MR that the side of Finland is stacking, they got the Skarner with that Hollow Radiance, they got the Maws, they got some Wits Ends. We're gonna need Habibi Poppy to really put some bullets through their brains on this Jhin and try to be the main carry here. Doesn't have to deal with too much armor just yet, so we'll see how well he can do.
Yeah, hasn't honestly really been able to find too much so far. Often just kind of relegated to ulting from the back of fights, and with these champions, they're kind of easily able to block those shots. But we'll see if any fight that could change if he's able to find some of those shots onto Rex, onto Aquazaba.
Has anyone been to the top or the bot lane in the last 5 minutes?
I'm not sure. Seems like there's always an objective up, as it looks like People's Dominion of Finland are just going to go straight onto it, and Habibi's Kittens may be too late.
Yeah, I mean, it's already down below 3k. Godable time going to smite that one down. It's Baron secured. Rough Puff now just going to get held in place. Shockwave is good onto the front line, but Rough Puff's still going to go down. Ragnaros flashing back as Jaxley finds some damage onto Genesis. Now going to try to depth charge, but a beautiful Weaver's Wall pins him in. There's no flash. There's no way out. They have paid the tides, and Rexes will now go forward with the Gatling gun. He barely survives until a bit more damage comes through, but it is still Finland with the upper hand.
Yeah, despite losing Rough Tough Afropuff and the Baron, they decided they still wanted to opt for the fight. Genesis going back in, and in the 4v5, they just weren't really able to make anything happen. Had to blow everything just to kill Rex, but in the end, it's a Baroned up team for Finland, and they might just be able to close out the game right here.
Yeah, 20 seconds on Poppy, 30 on Flat Shark. It will just be the inhibitor. Elder is up in 17. This does mean that the Finlanders have not spent their gold for this fight. There is a TP on Ragnaros, or there is a TP on Aquazaba. Does look like they're just going to go straight for it. Will just be these four members, and we'll see if the Kittens can get over here.
Well, Flat Shark does have that TP available, so already pretty close is Rough Tough Afropuff.
Oh, he's trying to get in, but he's locked up. Magnetstorm, he's forced to flash back. He's now just being evacuated by Ragnaros. He's trying to just get the smite off, but the Viego is dead. It's Talia to grab the Elder, but it's looking good for Kittens as they now have Rel in their sights. A flash hook beautifully placed around the wall. What a job by Genesis. It's just Corky to fend off 5.
A pretty questionable Elder call there, as they had, as you said, a lot of gold to their names and pretty low health bars. Just gave the opportunity for Flat Shark to TP in, while Rough Tough Afropuff found that initial engage, able to just survive. And despite picking up the Elder, a favorable fight for Habibi's Kittens, as they're now going to look to push down this mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, this could
Rex alive.
This could be the game. Rex is, I mean, he can try to pelt these waves. They're not baroned up or anything. But it is just him for another 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think he should be okay with this Elder, low health bars.
Oh, Genesis not able to find that hook, but now onto the towers. They have TP down as well. 2 go down to the Corky. Now Flat Shark trying to kill Instinct over. Shockwave doesn't find much. Flat Shark is going to go to the Nexus. Is exposed, but it's Jaxley coming in with the Magnet Storm. Lock him down. Throw away the key, because People's Dominions of Finland are going to run to the enemy base.
Yeah, and getting a bit greedy to go for that Nexus there when Rex did have the rockets available with the Elder Dragon empowerment, and the respawn timers were just in time for him to save the game, and that should just be all she wrote for this one.
A very back and forth match, but at 38 minutes, it looks like the blue and the white will find the win. Finland gonna move themselves up to 1-0. Pretty big early game performance from the Viego, but those carries in the Corky and the Talia were no slouch. They go base to base. Genesis, unfortunately, these guys have paid the tides. They can be here. Rough Tough is going to try to be a miracle worker. He gets a kill into Ragnaros, but the Nexus explodes all the same. That's a W for the People's Dominion of Finland.
What an exciting game. I mean, just fights going back and forth the entire game. It seems like right when one team found the advantage, it was the other team fighting right back all the way until the Nexuses were about to explode. Only about 50% of HP on Finland's Nexus when they were able to save that play. So both these teams looking really good so far in the tournament. We'll see if they're able to carry this forward, performance forward, and find some wins against some of the other teams in their group.
Yeah, a very good job by Finland to start themselves off. We're going to see if we can drag anyone in for some post-game thoughts.
So, Shiv, who do you think deserves the MVP for that one?
I mean, I'm just going to go with GOAT of all time. I think the KDA is not a lie here in this game. He was able to really make sure that the early game went in the favor of Finland, despite a lot of his lanes, pretty much every lane, getting counterpicked in draft. Not really as much advantage as I think the Kittens were hoping for. And, I mean, in fights, everyone was falling like dominoes with those resets. So, I will go with GOAT of all time.
Maybe just to play devil's advocate here, but I think I'm going to have to go with Aquazaba on this one. He basically saved his team in 3 straight fights, able to find huge engages onto multiple members, despite not even having tanks to follow up at some of these points, doing by far the most damage on his team. I think Aguazaba, despite maybe not having the most impressive KDA, looked the best in those team fights for me, and
Yeah,
just a really, really great
Rex's
performance
is in
from
chat.
Fluid.
Yeah, you saved the game, but the game shouldn't have gotten there. You were an item ahead in every fight and died in every fight.
That's
But yeah,
very
I mean, good work on the Nexus. I mean, that's really all that matters, to be fair.
Some words going back and forth. It sounds like, but I mean, well, are we able to get an interview here? That's the...
Sure. Let's bring. Hold on. Do 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 do. All right. It looks like Cloudy has deferred to Mr. Captain. So yeah, it looks like they're locked down. No one's allowed to speak except the captain. They don't want to get in any trouble. So all right, we have wrangled in the captain of Finland himself, a man who bleeds the white and blue. Jaxley, how are you doing after that first game?
It feels pretty good. I have to say, like, we were easily the best team in the tournament. That game wasn't even close. Nobody was sweating at all. We just played exactly the game plan, and my players are better, so we're just gonna win it.
Yeah, good stuff. Uh, that game was a bit rocky. How much faith did you have in Rexus that he was going to be able to pull off that base defense?
I saw them walking down mid, and I saw the flashing white elder buff on my Corki, and I knew there was no chance the game was ending there. All I knew is that they were going to try, and he was going to clear, and we were going to run it back down and end the game for ourselves. So I had no doubt in my mind that was going to be our dub.
Yeah.
So, what was this Kaisa top pick something that was on your radar? And if it wasn't, how did you react to that? How did you feel about that?
That's an interesting one. We were certainly surprised. You know what? Actually, our top laner was not surprised. He knew, and he played lane exactly as he said it was going to go. And yeah, he dropped some CS, but they had no way to play fights in the late game, and their front line just melted every single time. They couldn't really compare to the Talir quirky damage, and the Vega resets just ran over them. So I think that even though we were surprised by the Kaisa top, we got everything we wanted in draft, and um, it showed in the team fights in the late game.
Yeah, good to hear. All right, we will let you get back to your team in Europe and prepare for your next game. Best of luck.
Appreciate it. GG's, go Finland!
Good luck.
It's crazy what free healthcare will do to people. But yeah, a really nice first game, back and forth stuff there. We will take a short break and catch you guys on the other side for our second game.